Ever notice that some people feel most alive when the volume drops? They don't crave crowds, spotlights, or a phone buzzing itself breathless. Give them a still room, a warm cup of coffee, and a promise that nobody will barge in, and their shoulders melt the way other people loosen up on dance floors. If that's you, it doesn't mean you're cold, rude, or anti-anything. It usually means your system runs on another frequency, less stadium, more library lamp, less fireworks, more candle flame. What confuses everyone else is that two people can both love solitude while carrying completely different reasons inside. Some are escaping the static. Some are building in quiet. Some drift into an inner universe so vivid it doesn't feel like alone at all. From the outside, it all looks similar. You step back, you go quiet, you choose the corner seat. But on the inside, the engine is different. One mind is recovering, another is imagining, another is assembling the next chapter piece by piece. And none of that makes you less social or less human. It just means your brain is tuned to a calmer station. Parties can be fun, but they're not the only road to feeling alive. Many people confuse stimulation with meaning. You've learned they're not the same. Your calm isn't emptiness, it's space. Space to notice, to breathe, to think without being yanked every 8 seconds by the nearest notification. The modern world treats silence like a void to be filled. You've discovered it's actually a room you can live in. Not everyone who likes being alone is doing it for the same reason, though. The impulse might look identical, but the psychology isn't. Some people step away to hear themselves think. Some recharge because interactions feel like lifting weights. Some go quiet because silence is rocket fuel for deep work. As you read, see which one sounds like you. You might recognize yourself in one type, or across all three. You might even notice how you shift depending on the season you're in. That's normal. We're not statues, we're weather. And while the world celebrates those who are always on, there's a quiet skill most never train, knowing how to be with yourself and leave a conversation feeling more present, not less. Call it preference if you want, but often it's your nervous system returning to baseline, your mind clearing the desk, your heart taking off shoes it's been wearing all day. You're not avoiding life. You're choosing the conditions where life feels honest. Some people fly to distant beaches to find peace. This first type travels inward. They can sit by themselves for hours without boredom because their inner world has grown into a full cinema. Flashbacks in high definition, careful rewrites of the future, dialogues that run end to end like a scene with perfect lighting. Psychologists sometimes call this internal exploration, the ability to engage in rich, voluntary wandering of the mind. If you've ever run through a full conversation in your head, voices, pauses, clever comebacks, the works, and then laughed at your own punchline in an empty room, you know exactly what this feels like. You don't fear being alone because loneliness and solitude aren't synonyms to you. Solitude is company, yours. People like you are easy to miss in noisy rooms. You tend to go quiet in groups, not because you have nothing to say, but because your thoughts are taking the slow elevator. But when you finally speak, it lands different, an odd angle nobody considered, a piece of context that reframes the whole exchange, a question that sounds random until it solves the actual problem. You get charged not from external back and forth, but from the joy of connecting ideas in your head and watching them click. You don't need to leave the house to travel. You put on headphones without music just to keep the world at a distance while the real conversation unfolds inside. Your memories are annotated, your plans are storyboarded, your private jokes are excellent. The danger for the inner traveler isn't isolation, it's getting so absorbed that you forget to resurface and share what you've discovered. But that's a solvable problem. Learn to treat the world like a friend you bring souvenirs to. Give people a glimpse of the map you're carrying. When you do, you'll notice how many faces brighten, because what's everyday for you is rare for others. Your imagination supplies many of the rewards social life gives to the next person: novelty, tension, resolution, meaning. You don't need to go out every night to meet something new. You meet it whenever you close your eyes and follow a thread. And when your mind gets quiet, it isn't empty, it's a lake on a windless day, reflecting the sky. You could call that introversion, but labels are smaller than what's happening. You've built a home in your head, hung art on the walls, and learned which window the best light comes through. Then there's the one who treats energy like currency, the energy guardian. It's not that they dislike people, it's that people cost. Attention costs. Fake smiles cost. Listening to someone drain the room for sport costs. They spend carefully because they've learned how expensive certain interactions can be. You can spot this type by their strategic presence. They say yes when it truly matters, they reschedule without guilt when the week runs heavy, and they treat recovery time like any athlete treats rest day. Psychologists sometimes describe a piece of this as empathic fatigue. Think of a sponge you never wring out, eventually it can't absorb anything new. These folks soak up the emotional weather around them until they feel waterlogged. An hour in the wrong environment and it's like stepping out of a concert with your ears ringing. So they step back not to isolate, but to reset. Being alone isn't punishment, it's maintenance. They notice the social battery drop with precision. At 90%, they're funny. At 60%, they're attentive. At 30%, they're working hard to be present. At 0, they disappear from the group chat for 3 days and then return with a warm, "Missed you all, needed to breathe." And the paradox? When they do show up, they're the calmest person in the room. They're not numb, they're topped up. Boundaries don't make them distant, boundaries allow their kindness to be genuine instead of performative. They are selective about where their time goes because they respect what it takes to show up fully. They'll take a long walk instead of another meeting, because they know the walk returns them to themselves. They'll soften the lighting, make the tea, put their phone face down, and feel the static drop out of their nervous system like sand from a pocket. People who mistake that for coldness don't understand how quickly warmth burns out when you overspend it. The energy guardian is not allergic to connection, they're allergic to pretending. They can love deeply, but not on command. They need margins in their day the way a book needs white space around the text, or else the meaning blurs. And far from being flaky, they're often the most reliable friend you have, because when they say yes, they're all in. Time alone isn't a retreat from others, it's a return to baseline so they can actually be the person they want to be when they re-enter the room. Finally, there's the silent builder. Solitude is their caffeine. Quiet isn't just pleasant, it's productive. When other people announce goals, the builder uses the same time to move an inch closer. When other people post about plans, the builder is knee-deep in the plan. Hands messy, clock forgotten. This type doesn't withdraw to avoid, they withdraw to construct. They plan, read, practice, iterate. They find a corner booth and map the next 6 months. They turn off notifications and drop into deep work, partly because they love the feeling of concentration, partly because they've noticed how quickly chatter breaks the thread. Psychological language here points to self-determination. A need for autonomy over time and choice, and a sense of competence earned by doing hard things without applause. They don't crave validation, they crave evidence. They'd rather have results than a highlight reel. And yes, from the outside they can look too serious. But sit with them long enough and you'll notice the quiet glow of someone who knows they're building something real. Their peace is earned. It's the relief that follows a session where the mind stayed on the rails, the peace got better, the craft inched forward. These are the people who hold themselves to private standards nobody sees. They keep promises to future versions of themselves. They don't hate company, they just recognize that company, especially the wrong kind at the wrong time, can blow a hole in the day big enough for a week's worth of momentum to fall through. They're not hiding from the world. They're preparing for it, the way a runner trains before a race, quietly, consistently, with a calendar that matters more than commentary. When they talk about their work, it's in verbs, not slogans. When they share progress, it's measured and honest, not polished into something unrecognizable. If you look closely, you can see their rhythm: input, focus, output, rest, repeat. They'll say no to a dozen invitations not because they're joyless, but because they know what yes costs and what it buys. Give them 2 quiet hours and they'll buy a week of clarity. Give them a weekend and they'll return with a plan that bends the next season in their favor. In a world obsessed with the visible, they have learned the magic of the invisible, the hours nobody saw that made the moment everyone will. Whether you're an inner traveler, an energy guardian, or a silent builder, the thread tying you together is simple: you have learned to be with yourself. You've turned what many people fear, silence, stillness, unbroken time, into a habitat. In psychology, there's a phrase for this: solitude capacity. It's the learned ability to feel whole without external noise, to sit in your own company and not feel like you're missing the party of your life. It's rarer than it should be. People who genuinely enjoy time alone tend, on average, to be more emotionally steady, more creative, and more self-aware. Not because alone time makes you better than anyone else, but because it gives you space to know what you actually think before the crowd hands you a script. When you aren't constantly pulled into other people's rhythms, you begin to hear your own. When no one is watching, you learn which choices feel right for reasons that don't need applause. You're harder to knock off course, not because you're stubborn, but because you've mapped your inner terrain well enough to navigate in the dark. So the next time someone asks, "Why do you like being alone so much?" you don't have to defend yourself. Smile and say, "Because peace is my favorite company." Let them sit with that. Maybe they'll hear the invitation hidden inside: that quiet isn't a punishment you endure when the fun ends, it's a form of attention you give yourself because your life is worth noticing from the inside. If you've recognized yourself in these words, tell me which role fits: Are you the inner traveler living whole stories behind your eyes, the energy guardian who budgets social life so your kindness stays real, or the silent builder who uses quiet like a lever to move your world? Or maybe you're a blend, some days one, some days another, depending on the weather of your week. Do you love your alone time, or are you still learning how to make friends with it? The comment box is open. Share the map you've been using. Someone else is looking for a trailhead, and your words might be the sign they needed to see today. If any part of this felt like home, please subscribe and stay. Let's build a quiet corner of the internet where your peace is safe.